Another day, another poker time.
Another Tuesday, you mean?
Another poker time.
The way I said Tuesday was kind of like slam poetry. Anyway, Stuart has 2 9s under the gun. 2 9s under the gun. Slam poetry.
Oh, I didn't know what was happening.
I'm
Brewer with
really
a good
good at
hand
it.
as well here. He could call or raise. It's perfectly reasonable to call.
Stuart's got a reasonable under the gun range. Ace Queen might
Yeah.
not want a +1 3-bet there.
Elwood's going to defend as well with the Queen Jack. It all makes sense
Everything makes sense once you look at it
from the right perspective.
through the right perspective.
Okay. So it's King 8, 4, 2 spades. Elwood's got the biggest spade in his hand.
Nobody's in love with this flop.
Stuart checks it. Now there is a window here, but Brewer just checks it back. That's totally reasonable.
He believes in doors.
And he, what did the
That's
greatest
the door.
check back in the world.
That's the door hitting you in the face on the way in. Is
Stuart-
that the opposite of the other thing?
Stuart certainly hates that turn card.
I think this is just the end of it unless Elwood decides to get a little frisky with the gut shot.
This is such a reasonable card for either one of these guys to have from Stuart's point of view, especially Brewer.
I wonder if a check back is a better play as Brewer.
There are 2 spades on the board. That's all I got.
Ooh, Stewart is going to call. Never mind. Check back is
Interesting.
not a better play. Stewart thinks Brewer's taking a shot.
Well, he thinks it's possible Brewer's taking a shot.
Yeah.
Brewer's going to have to bet this for value on the river.
Yeah, he just really doesn't want to get check raised.
Of course not, but it's unlikely he's going to get check raised. So his hand is way too good.
There's no straights, no flushes. He has top.
I don't know what he's really hoping Stuart has here, but
Stewart
you know,
could have ace 10 and play it this way.
I guess he could. Stuart's considering it. It's 160 to win 390.
I'm going to make something up here. Is Stewart going to become a POW or payoff wizard?
You didn't make that up.
I just made that up.
That has been said for a long time.
I know that was the
by
joke.
lots of people. I know. I'm letting the audience know. I know you know. I can see your face.
That's a Phil Locke creation, I think, or is it an
I think it's
Esfandier?
Antonio.
Those
I'm
guys
giving
create
Antonio.
things. They go in the think tank and they create those things together.
Remember when Antonio used to call everyone doctor?
How?
Something? Wow. Well, there were 2 flush draws.
Yeah,
and neither
but-
one came in.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's a little bit of a...
That's why.
That's an ambitious call, though.
Okay. But there were 2 flush draws and neither one came in.
That is true.
And he played it so weak, I think, that he felt obligated to call. Like Brewer's hand wasn't defined necessarily as a big
Yeah.
hand. Like Stuart never bet it.
he
or
did call
anything.
+1. I mean, Brewer has to
Yeah,
have the,
sure.
He mostly has to have the turn flush draw, too.
That's correct. He has to have hearts. And Stuart did have a heart and a spade in his hand, which isn't great, but only one. You know.
You're talking yourself into not liking the call.
No. I'm not. I think it's not the end of the world to call there.
It's not the end of the world, but
I think it's okay.
it's a little bit of a losing play.
I don't know. I don't know that it is.
Stewart looks unhappy
Well,
because he heard my commentary already.
it was a losing play that time. That's all I can say for sure.
Is Joseph min raising here? He likes 9-6 suited. We see him play that all the time. I guess
It's not a min raise. Come on.
2.5.
Oh, this is great. We're going to play along with Joseph, apparently, and not know Matt Vaughan's cards.
Thanks a lot, vlogger.
Classic vlogger action where they don't show you what they have.
There it is.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
He's got the best hand, Matt Vaughan.
Still has the best hand. But this,
It's not a good flop for sixes, really.
got to believe 3 ways that Matt's not going to defend to this C-bet with
He looked at his chips.
Stuart behind him.
He's going to call.
Okay.
Well,
Once again, we're wrong about everything. Feels good.
I'm a bit surprised he called, but he is correct in this instance.
Yep. So, will Joseph give up? Yes.
It looks like Matt has an ace.
Yeah. I think Matt should probably be betting here. Just
Do
to
you-
fold out the king queens of the world.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible that Matt was floating and he would have floated with a lot of his hands just to represent an ace later?
I think there's something to that, but I also think he's floating with, I'm guessing, a better part of his range because he had Stuart behind him.
Yeah.
So he thinks sixes are like a reasonable part of his range to float with. And also he can have the best hand as he did, of course.
Yeah.
But he also could have just folded out two nines or something.
Well, that was well played by our vlogger.
Well, it worked out. I'll say that.
I liked how he played it.
Well, I guess the cumulative winnings stats agree because he's up $220.
He's no Eson, but at
Well.
least he's also no Digital Dan. He's
Right.
down about a house.
He's down a virtual house.
In Second Life, if you had a really good interior designer,
Second Life, huh?
$2,500 for one of them houses. Not very talkative so far this episode, these players.
Nope. Matt Vaughan has a quiet intensity,
Yeah.
I believe.
A brooding intensity.
Ken's going to open from the hijack with ace-3 off.
That surprises you?
No, but I made it sound like it was surprising
Yeah,
in
you
my
did.
voice because, it's a new episode. We have some new viewers or something.
Zachary Elwood has queen 6 of clubs.
No, he's folding, though. That's the difference.
Oh, he can't believe he folded.
Brewers
Brewer's
gonna
probably going to call here.
This is a defend.
No,
Oh,
I guess he
Wow.
forgot how to defend.
that's a surprise fold.
It is. It's a shocker.
And he
And
would have
look
flopped
at
top
that.
pair.
Look at what a fool. Ken's going to continue because Ken always continues.
For sure, Digital Dan's going to call at least once. He's got a pair and a backdoor flush draw.
Are you going to try to be wrong again here? Just watch him fold. Let's watch
He's
him.
not folding. I'm telling you.
All right,
Phew.
you're right. You're right.
I got a little nervous.
You staked your reputation on that one.
Will Ken shut down? I guess we're going to see what the turn is before.
Any Broadway card you should probably continue on.
That
That is
great.
not a good card.
He is going to shut down, and
That's good because he's drawing dead.
it's too bad for Digital Dan that Ken has a whole lot of nothing. I guess Ken sometimes will call with his ace highs, but I can't believe. I mean, you can only beat a straight draw. Maybe it's 100. Let's see what Ken does.
Ken's got to fold. There's nothing else to do.
And he is done with the hand. Into the muck.
Whoa, is that supposed
I'm going to
to
start saying that.
Is that supposed to be quoting something, or
No,
you're just
no.
trying to create a thing?
I did create it.
Are you doing?
I'm not
are you trying to say it kind of like an old salty sea sailor?
No. No, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
trying to say it like a righteous Englishman. Into the muck. Like that. I'm going to do that from now on. Every time someone folds.
Every fold.
Every fold, every hand.
Oh God. I can see our viewership going down.
Our viewership will be going into the muck.
We get analytics on when people stop watching. I think
Yeah,
we're gonna
we'll
we're gonna
know.
get a pretty clear correlation here.
I mean, maybe they'll double. That'd be exciting for us. All right.
How would it double? How does that
They'll
work?
tell their friends
And they'll be like, start watching it
in the middle as soon as
7
Jonathan
minutes.
says into the muck. I mean, it makes sense to me. Digital Dan with a very pretty hand. Can't fold this one.
Although Ken opened it in the same position, although it was unsuited.
Now, some people who are newer to the show may be wondering why they call him Digital Dan. Why don't you tell them?
It's because he has caught them all. All of the Pokemon.
Ah, the digital Pokemon. Are there non-digital Pokemon?
Where? Name one. Find one.
Pikachu.
No, that one's digital. They're all digital.
I wouldn't know.
Dan has caught every Pokemon from
Okay.
every Pokemon game ever created.
Yeah.
And actually, he told me it amounts to 1,855 Pokemon.
Wow. All right, here's the flop. It's, Digital Dan does not have the best hand, but he did flop a pair. Brewer's the only other guy. This is pretty much anyone's pot right now, I would say.
Dan probably likes the flop better than Brewer, even
Yeah.
though Brewer has a better hand.
Well, Dan also, of course, has the initiative, which is nice. He could have certainly checked this as well, but he's going to thin the field and probably just win. I don't think Brewer's going to defend here. It's tough with Joseph behind him.
Nope, he lets it go. It's reasonable.
He sends those cards into the muck.
You didn't even do it the way you were doing it.
Into the muck. Is that better?
You've lost it.
I can't remember.
You can't do it anymore.
I can't remember how I sounded.
I think you should do more of like a
Yeah.
less uppity British accent,
Like
more of like
Scottish?
more of just like a like downtrodden British person who's
Oh.
like, you know.
Like, it's Mary Poppins into the muck. Like that.
Well,
sort
no,
of?
that's too hopeful.
Oh, you're right.
Like into the muck there, governor.
Oh, that's not bad.
Like that.
That's not bad. Trying to think how
Like
a
a
Scottish
brawler,
person would
like a
say it.
brawler who brawls.
By the way, everyone did fold, of course. And,
Yeah.
the digital one took it down with second pair, and not the best hand, so that's got to feel good once he watches this.
Into the muck there, governor. Eh?
You know, a lot of people from Great Britain do actually watch our
Sweep
show.
your chimney
There's
there.
a significant percentage of our
Well,
of
if
our
they're
audience.
offended, then they can just go back on their British
Come on.
sailing vessels.
Don't
and
say that.
Get the hell out of my face.
Stop it.
I was born in Great Britain, so
Nobody cares.
I have a great affinity for the British people.
Here's Zach Elwood with the ace-8 of spades, making the call. Elwood, of course, is the author of 3 books on poker tells.
Yep. Verbal poker tells being his main concern.
Why? That's not really true, actually.
Really?
Yeah, his second book was Verbal Poker Tells. His first one wasn't. First one was just about normal poker tells.
Well, I just knew about the verbal one more.
Fair enough. Here's Matt Vaughan, who, of course, is a vlogger and part of our Vloggers Paradise series.
Vlogger, a word that did not exist 8 years ago.
Oh, so be it.
And we got a good flop for the 9-6s and for Zach Elwood.
Yep. Everyone but Brewer is reasonably happy here.
Brewer's got 2 back doors, but he does not love it and is definitely... Oh, Vaughn's just going to lead into the field.
I think he's just concerned it's going to check through.
There's a lot of bad cards for his hand.
This is also certainly... He's got a range advantage on the table right now. He knows it.
Ken raises with top pair because Ken's going to Ken.
Yep. And now here's Elwood. I can't imagine him folding here. This hand is way too good. The question is to call or to raise.
Right. I think when Ken raises, I like raising better because Ken has a lot of raises in him that are hands like this.
If you know that about him, like
Yeah.
we do, because we see all the hands he plays on the show.
Of
Now,
course.
Elwood may not know this about him. And if you don't know about him, you look at Ken, you might think he's bound to have it a lot. In
Right.
spots,
He has
right?
a set of 4s here all the time.
Right. So you can't really raise, but you can't really fold. So then you just find the middle ground. So I think a call makes sense based on if you don't have information about
Right.
him. If you know that he raises top pair all day long, that's completely different.
And Elwood's flat must be pretty scary for Vaughn. I think
Yeah.
Vaughn was probably going to call had Elwood folded, but now I think Vaughn's probably just going to let it go.
Elwood can have 2 10s easily. He can have a better 9 all the time.
He can be slow playing a set.
He can have Jack 10 of spades. He's got all sorts of hands that put Vaughn in big trouble here. Still, it's 120 to win 550 right now, which isn't the end of the world. But if one of these guys doesn't have a draw, it's very unlikely Matt is good.
Right, and you would be concerned that Ken, although he does raise top pair in spots like this, would usually have a better kicker anyway.
I mean, your 6 is almost never going to end up playing.
Right.
Right.
And now Elwood has an open ender to go with the
Huge.
nut flush draw. And Ken's going to keep betting. He did pick up a gut shot, but
That's 225.
I don't know. I guess he's just putting Elwood on a flush draw correctly.
225 into 550. It's a small bet.
Half pot.
Less than half pot.
You sure about that?
Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
Less than half pot. I did bad math.
Yep.
Jonathan's so satisfied right now. Elwood has a couple options. He could raise right now.
It's totally fine to raise based on the pot size. Like, a move-in is not crazy since Ken is 1.2 back. A normal raise is fine, too.
Looks like he's pulling out
Yeah,
the big chips.
I don't hate this.
I like this play.
He's just going with it, I assume.
I think Ken's
Can't really raise
sizing.
fold.
Ken's sizing is also a bit transparent
Yeah.
here.
It looks like Ken has a 9.
And
Or-
Elwood's just never folding no matter what
Oh,
Ken
yeah.
does.
And as you see, he's got perfectly good equity to call it off here with 41%. That's
I
more
really
than
like
enough.
Elwood's sizing here too. It's pretty much committing.
Yep.
He's saying like you can't really call unless you have a super monster.
And if you shove, guess what? I'm
Yeah.
never folding, bro.
Right.
Yep. Ken sees that and folds the best hand. Great play.
Well played by Elwood.
Yep. Shows them both. Look at Ken shake his head. Very unhappy.
Just over 14K in the pot. The turn is the 4 of diamonds.
Hey, what is that? Speaking of turn, coming around the mountain? Is
Oh.
that the Nitrogen Sports Poker train?
I think they did buy a train recently.
If you listen, you can hear its very familiar jingle. And choo-choo. Wait, there's the jingle. Nitro, nitro, nitro. Nitro, nitro, nitro.
Wow, that's the weirdest ad ever all of a sudden. Anyway, Nitrogen Sports Poker Room is, they let us do ads like this.
They do.
Perhaps because they don't listen to them.
Free reign, baby. Nitro, nitro, nitro. Nitro, nitro, nitro.
Hey, what do you think about that ad? I know we do it all the time, but geez.
It's extraordinary. That's what I think about it. It's lovely. It's beautiful. And nothing beats the train at the end with my face on it.
It's like your face Buffalo Bill style, like it got stretched over the train.
It's a train wearing a human suit, and I am the suit. But still, I love it. You know?
It makes you want to play on Nitrogen Sports Poker
It
Room,
does.
doesn't it?
It really does. Please use the link in the description.
Yeah.
Or the link that they posted up there if you're going to
It's
do
in
it.
both places.
Good. Matt Vaughan with the 8-7 off. He's definitely not going to fold this. It looks like he's going to bring it in for a raise.
Some of you might be wondering why players never chop in these cash games when it's folded, but it's because this is technically a tournament, so there is no chopping.
Correct.
That's the way the Portland laws work.
That's also why there's no straddle.
And no tipping.
Right.
A lot of you have asked why nobody tips the dealers. It's because you're not allowed to.
Yep. So, you know, that's why we get, instead of straddles, we get blind raises a lot.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
But I won't.
Your train face is going to become synonymous with Nitrogen Sports.
I hope so. That's got to be a good paying job.
You want to
I want to be the train
become
mascot.
famous as the guy whose face is stretched out over the front of a train.
I'll take it. How about that? Joseph going to definitely open this queen jack off in the cutoff. Will Ken defend? Of course he will.
With that's a reasonable hand.
Totally reasonable. Most hands are. That one certainly is. And bing, bang, bong.
Hits the 4. Joseph's got 2 back doors and 2 overs.
Joseph going to continue. Small continue, though. Only 40. Easy call for Ken with 1 pair here. That actually gives Ken a straight draw.
It does. So I think Ken's not going anywhere if Joseph wants to continue bluffing here.
I agree. This board is really all about Ken, and I like Joseph's check back here. Take the free one.
That's a good card for
Yep.
Joseph if he wants to bluff.
He can't really rep the flush very well. Oh, but Ken's going to bet it. Ken can rep the flush, which I think is what he's doing. He's
Trying
bluffing.
to bluff pocket 8s or something out,
Yeah,
pocket 9s.
a 7. Turns out he's the best hand, but
No, I don't. I thought I did. I had the queen of diamonds. So no.
Good bluff.
I couldn't even
I think
turn
this
my
is,
queen into a bluff.
even though Ken had the best hand here, I kind of like this bluff. He probably was going to get bluffed if he checked. I don't know that he was necessarily going to call.
Yeah.
But he's going to fold out some better hands for sure. So I think that was pretty good.
I don't know because, yeah, I think you're right because
Just the
Joseph
flush draws.
Yeah, although Joseph doesn't really bluff too much when he's not wearing his Yankees gear. That's his aggressive outfit. If he's wearing his Yankees gear, he's going for it.
Yeah, but he checked back the turn, so now he's not doing like no triple barrel.
Right. No, if he was wearing his
Yankees
Yankees gear, he would have bet pot on the turn.
Yeah, but he could still bet the river.
Yeah.
Because he checked the turn. He's only allowed to bluff 2 streets, I think, when he's not wearing the Yankees hat.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going on.
Yeah. Quality analysis from
Hat,
the poker
hat
guys.
and sweater, both at the same time. Sweatshirt.
It's gonna fold around. Eventually.
Brewer found a giant spider on the ground. Look at that. He's
Wow.
just trying to pet it now.
Raise to 30.
That is also true.
Got Isan raising to 30 on the button with ace 8. There is the felt.
Ken with the call with 10-8 off. I'm gonna call that optimistic.
Yeah, that's a big blind call, not really a small blind call.
Yeah.
He's in-
Ken makes it work. I'll say that. He's the biggest winner in the history of the game, our game here on this channel. But
is accurate.
still, I think it was optimistic. The check back may open the door here.
I don't think Isan's going to fold to any bet at this point, and if the board runs out clean, he's probably not going to fold on the river either.
Let's see how clean it runs out.
Well, he didn't have to face a bet anyway, so Ken could rep a 9 now if he
Sure.
wants to, but he decides not to, and Isan's just going to win with ace
Yep.
high.
That's way better than mine.
Ace high.
Dominated.
And Isan continues to win the majority of the hands that he enters.
Well, that's, all you got to do. Just win more than you lose, right?
More hands than you. It doesn't matter about the money, as you've said before.
Yeah. I think the whole money chips thing, way too much focus on that, not nearly enough focus on just percentage of pots won. Like, give me the
some-
guy who's winning 54% of pots. I'll take him all day over the guy who wins the big pots and loses the small pots, okay?
A lot of people believe what you're saying, and they think this is like
Really?
some sort of new knowledge. That,
All right.
Yeah, that like they don't
Fine.
truly understand because they haven't heard the math that explains it or something. So you
Fine.
should probably disclaim that that is not what you believe.
I do not believe that. Ugh. Let's get back to the other fun stuff. I hate having to disclose things.
Well, then why did you create a YouTube channel where you disclose all of your thoughts about poker?
I'm not sure. All right, here's Matt Vaughan with the deuces, the ducks.
Did Isan just fold 9-7 suited?
Well, he definitely folded.
That's weird. It's a bit of a strange
Yep.
tight fold.
I'm surprised.
You think he's already locking it up?
No, there's way too much time to go.
All right, we
We're only
got
about halfway through this overall
we
session.
got a bunch
here.
of pretty nice hands here, except
Yeah.
for Joseph's.
And he's the guy with he's the opener.
All right, so Elwood has flopped top pair and the backdoor flush draw. Ken's flopped middle pair and the open ender.
That's it.
That's about it.
See how this plays out.
Everybody checks.
To Ken. Ken can really bet this.
Ken bets
He does.
125.
Fair enough.
Did Elwood?
Elwood's right there.
Okay.
Wait. No, he's got cards.
He's got
okay,
cards.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I imagine he's just going to call. I don't see any value in raising.
Calling makes all the sense in the world, right? He's got the back doors. He's got a backdoor flush draw. He's got the gut shot. He's got top pair with a good kicker. Pretty straightforward spot.
No.
Into the muck.
What?
I don't know. I got nothing. I was just glad to be able to say into the muck.
What just happened?
I'm not sure why he folded that.
I
can't explain it.
Why? It's not like he had a queen with no kicker and was worried about further aggression. He actually had stuff going on with a good kicker and a draw and a backdoor.
It was
draw.
a wet board too, like Ken could absolutely be betting draws. He had a pair along with his draw, but Ken could
He's
be
betting in the
draws.
last position. I mean,
Seems crazy to just fold there.
that was weird.
I mean,
man.
a raise is way better than a fold there. Way better.
Fold is the worst option.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really surprising fold.
Sorry, Elwood, we got to give it to you there.
Yeah, that's. I can't come up with a really great justification for that, and sometimes I try. I'm sort of trying to get there. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I know you had guys behind you, but so what?
Yeah.
The guys behind you had already checked. And
It's been a while since Elwood's played poker, so I
Yeah.
think he's erring on the side of caution a little bit too heavily here.
We've seen that before, too. In the very first episode of this session, he folded ace-queen off under the gun in the very first hand.
Yeah, he just didn't want to get involved right away.
Yeah.
He hadn't played for a while. That one made more sense to me than this one, I think.
They're
neither-
both
yeah.
confusing. This one seems worse, though. I agree, because you've already seen the flop.
Yeah.
There's only 2 more cards to come. Anyway, look at this. Lots of people.
Lots of queen jacks. 2 queen jacks, an ace queen.
7s and 6s. Lots of hands.
7s are in much better shape 5 ways than they usually would be.
More than half the table involved. See a cooler flop.
Well, it looks
I
like Brewer's got the queen of diamonds. Stewart's got 7s with a 7 of diamonds, and that's about it. Joseph's got 6s.
Who was the original aggressor? I guess it was Brewer with the ace-queen.
Yeah.
But it's going to check through. Brewer could have bet that, but I'm sure he would have preferred to have the ace of diamonds.
Still,
to bet it.
nobody has anything of real consequence.
There's some gut shots for Matt Vaughan and Digital Dan. And Brewer's going to check again, and someone's probably going to take a shot here. Matt Vaughan is the kind of guy who might just take a shot. He's got overs in the gutter. Here we go.
That's 135.
All right, so Stewart, I got to believe Stewart's going to fold.
This
here,
might
right?
work. I think it's going to work.
Brewer has just the queen high flush draw, really nothing else going on. Overs that could be good, but
Oh, it looks like he's not believing right now.
yeah.
Is he raising?
It looks like he's pulling out raising chips.
This is interesting. So he's repping a flopped flush.
He thinks that Vaughn would have bet the ace of diamonds probably on the flop.
Or a flush.
Yeah. Well,
So-
that's the bad news, Matt. You just got it. You do have the worst hand.
I think what Brewer's doing is he's saying, I have a read on you that you don't have it, but he's not really thinking about what it looks like he has.
Yeah.
Like Brewer would really check a flush twice because that's really all he's repping.
It seems hard to imagine he would be check raising here on the turn with anything other than a flush, right? Like even if he had 2 10s.
That's why Matt's thinking, right?
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't
it's a
this be
good
something?
time. It's a good time for Brewer to do this because Matt has really nothing.
Yep. I mean, Matt's got, and he doesn't even have a diamond in his hand. If he had the jack of diamonds, he could at least pretend, but he's just going to have to give this one up. Wait!
He's bringing out the chips.
Wouldn't this be something if he re-raised? I don't see him doing it. Wouldn't this be something?
It would be amazing. Because Brewer's story is kind of bad.
Yeah, and that's what's got to be keeping Matt in his hand up till now even. Just the thought, like, how can he really have it? Would he ever really check the nuts twice? This many people in the hand, wouldn't he bet it? I wonder if Matt Vaughan is actually thinking about calling. He's in position.
Oh, and then he can rep it on the river.
Then Brewer is going to feel like it's going to be really hard to bluff the river
Oh.
if Vaughan calls here.
Matt's making a little smirk.
Yeah. He's got sort of like the card funeral face, the I'm giving up face. Yeah, and there it is. But believe it or not, Brewer, you actually had the best hand. I'm sure you don't think that right now, but you did. But look, yeah, see Matt Vaughan's face? Doesn't really believe. Good instincts, Matt.
Yeah, good instincts.
Calling would have been such a cool play there.
It
I
would
just think
have.
Brewer's going to give up so much of the time on the river. Of course, a diamond would really hurt Matt Vaughan, and an ace might hurt him too. So there is that.
No words exchanged. I was kind of waiting for a conversation there, but Brewer kind of stared Matt down a little bit after the hand just to see if you could get a read on what Matt was thinking, I think, and they didn't start talking.
Wow, I don't know if I believe that one.
Stuart saying he didn't believe it.
Yeah, nobody believes it.
It's not a good story. But you don't always have to tell a good story. Sometimes the pressure is enough. Digital Dan going to apply some pressure. But it's all ones and zeros with that guy.
Pokemon.
That he actually says that, when he wins a big pot.
Got to catch them all?
No, he says Pokemon. He says it sort of mostly to himself.
Oh.
You can't really hear these new microphones we have because I don't know if the viewers can see, guys, but we actually now have each player is actually mic'd up individually, so you'll be able to hear Dan say Pokemon when he wins.
Despite the fact that you haven't heard any player discussion so far, it's because they haven't been talking in this
Yeah.
episode.
They actually do talk sometimes, and we can hear them when they do. We swear. You'll be able to hear them too.
I'm on tilt. I was like, you just always have just the ace of diamonds, right?
Yeah,
but
of course.
I just like had too much in front of me to rip it in your face. I think.
I did not have the ace of diamonds.
Well, even better.
Matt thought Brewer had the ace of diamonds, not the queen of diamonds, but that makes sense.
It's so hard for either player to have the ace of diamonds there, the way they played it.
I was considering. Or both.
Say that again? No, mine.
Yours or what
Mine.
I was
No, mine.
considering?
Not yours. Not what you were considering. I'm talking about me.
Raise this.
We're actually having audio difficulties with Brewer's mic right now.
That's too bad.
That's why we can't hear what he's saying.
Well, that isn't key at all.
It was interesting to hear what Matt was saying, though.
So Matt Vaughan opens, and Stuart defends ace-4 off on the button. Oh, no, he 3-betted. He 3-betted,
Yeah.
excuse me. That makes way more sense.
It makes a lot more sense. And now Stuart's going to win, right?
I would assume so, unless Matt Vaughan is tilting and decides to make a play at him. Stuart's going to bet this for sure, repping ace-king and aces and kings. And I got to believe, like you said. Yeah.
Just flop stone nothing. What? Sorry, one back door.
Stuart quietly takes the money. Stuart definitely going after Matt Vaughan, I think because of the last play. Because that ace-4 off is not normally in his 3-betting range.
Yeah. That's probably the case.
Yeah, I like that play by Stuart. Like, he sees an ace and it's enough.
Flop the world. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. And it didn't quite happen how I pictured it in my mind.
Time to bring the camera out.
Time to vlog.
Take a picture of that stack while it's still there.
Oh, man.
Oh, shots fired.
Queen 10 offsuit for Isan. I'm going to say he's a little too tight to play this. Let's see if we're right. Yes.
I think we saw him fold queen 10 suited under the gun.
Did we?
Yeah, so.
Oh, there you
Which
go.
is a reasonable fold anyway.
And here's Ken coming in +1 with the ace-6 offsuit.
Why not?
5 sevens for Brewer.
Pretty much always a just call, but he has seen Ken do a lot of
Yeah.
loose play. He might decide to 3-bet, but decides against.
It means he's going to get a lot of Matt Vaughan action calling from the big
Looks
blind.
like Joseph
yeah.
is going to call with
Really?
6-5 off. That's interesting.
Joseph is getting a little antsy.
He's like, I should have worn my Yankee stuff. I could have 3-bet if I wore my Yankee stuff, but I have to just call.
I don't know, that hat. What? There's something on that hat. I just can't see what it is. Might
not-
be
it's
a
not
Yankee.
It's not
Might be the interlocking NY.
It ain't no Yankees.
Just might be. All right,
And,
King 7-5. Wow, Matt Vaughan would have flopped top 2, but
And that would have been amazing for Brewer because
Yep.
Brewer has middle set.
yep.
Wow, that's kind of a bad beat for Brewer that Vaughn decided not to call there. He might have Matt's whole stack.
Yeah, if they fast play it on the flop, I think they would get all in.
Ken's going to lead into the field, and Brewer has a decision here.
I think he's going to raise, and I like raising here. I think this is the right play.
Looks
even
like
though
he is raising, and
It's unlikely to get any action.
yeah, unfortunately for him, man, that is a bad beat that Matt folded there. He was going to get all the action he wanted.
I'm sure Matt Vaughan right now very unhappy about the fold, but when he sees this video, be a little more pleased with himself.
Yeah. He looks already pleased with himself.
Suited variety from my cold dead fingers.
I believe he was saying there he would call if it was suited.
You know, people make fun of Matt Vaughan's hair.
No, only you do that. Only you. You stop.
Why do you
Stop.
think it is that people keep bringing it
Why
up?
do you keep doing it?
This whole Matt Vaughan hair thing. What do you
Seriously,
think that's
man,
about?
Stop being a dick. You're being a dick.
What do you think that's about? Why do they do that though? I don't know. I'm just asking questions here, you know.
Sure, you can ask questions that are very insulting over and over again. That sounds fun. Ken's gonna
Very
open it.
insulting. Come on, let's slow it
I'm
down.
sure Matt feels great about the questions.
That's fine. So here's Brewer with jacks. Hey, we got a little race going on here.
Why did you say it that way?
I don't know. Because I'm trying not to offend anybody anymore. Sorry.
Wow.
Matt.
Wow.
All right, there's your 3-bet by Brewer. Can't imagine Ken's going to do anything but call.
Yep. Seems like a call time. Oh, is he bringing
I
out
do
the
like
big?
it when he pulls out the big ones, but it
No,
looks
he
like-
pulled out the big ones, and he's going to.
Really?
He's gonna 3-bet. Yeah.
4-bet. This would
4-bet.
be a 4-bet with
4-bet,
ace
that's
queen off after opening under the gun with it. Wow.
Well, Brewer's probably just gonna
It's
call.
super small though. Brewers really can't fold, although Ken only has 970 back,
He
but
can
it's
just put it.
175.
He can just put the money in if he wants to.
He could. It looks pretty strong when Ken does this, but Brewer's hand is way too good to fold for this much money, especially.
Any favorable flop for Jackson? Just kind of got to go with it, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, Ken's got 1.5 times the pot behind.
He doesn't love the
Ooh,
king
well, Ken can win right now.
because now he's got
I think this is gonna work.
a lot of ace king in his range.
This is what sucks for Brewer, that Ken doesn't have to hit to win when a king comes out. That's his one extra card that'll save him. I don't see how Brewer's going to continue because Ken usually has ace king plus here, right?
He sometimes could have queens, but of course
Okay.
Brewer's losing to that.
Yep. Ken also looks pretty committed based on his stack size.
7 deuce.
Is he going to show it? Oh, I thought I was going to break some hearts there.
You can see that Brewer's heart is broken anyway.
More worlds destroyed.
Easy game.
That's like the only decent pot I won today.
Ken's complaining about his rotten luck on poker time.
You just folded jacks out, buddy, with ace queen high. It's pretty good. That 4-bet, that was pretty interesting.
That was that's
He's got moves, man.
Not
He's got
something
moves.
you see very often. The ace queen 4-bet.
Nope.
It can go pretty poorly.
Fold. Fold.
Of course it can, but it did not.
Fold. Fold.
All the way to Matt Vaughan with a real hand.
Raise to 40. Fold.
Ken's never folding the ace-5 off. We know that.
That's a reasonable defend.
Yep.
That
A
is
whole lot of spades.
Yeah, so that's good for Matt that there's so many spades, but he certainly doesn't love the flop.
I expect him to check this back a lot.
Yeah, I don't see a ton of value in betting.
Maybe trying to extract value from spades specifically, I think.
Yeah,
30.
yeah.
I guess Ken can have an 8 and call sometimes, but
Ken folds faster than the camera can move.
always a good sign
Wrong ace.
of like vigor.
Vigor.
A sign of vigor, health, that he folds so quickly. He's got the agility.
Right, he doesn't have to like think about it for 4 minutes before like, oh, that's how you fold.
Yeah, the mental acuity is there.
Yeah.
Rock solid.
It's a weird thing to say.
Zach Elwood with the shrimp on
Is he
his,
gonna fold this? It's watermelon,
no,
dude.
He's definitely not folding this. It's pizza, by the way. He's
watermelon.
100% not folding 2 black 9s. This is, by the way, is the hand that Phil Hellmuth won the World Series of Poker main event with. 2 black 9s.
Why you gotta give Helmuth a shout? Why you gotta do that?
Everyone knows who he is anyway. It's okay.
We don't need to
Start with
contribute
the
to that.
ace-6 suited. +1 call is a little bit unusual for him.
It's
He's
quite
usually a
unusual,
little,
actually.
Usually a little tighter than that. Brewer with the 7s is going to call.
Especially because Elwood has been particularly tight in this episode.
Yeah.
And
I'm
this
surprised.
entire session.
I'm surprised he flattered there. Maybe he's feeling a little antsy too. Joseph is going to call.
Everybody's in the party. All right,
He's on with a really nice hand.
really nice hand to call the button with.
Absolutely. Turns out he's dominated in spades, but come on, how can he know? Also, King Queen's fine anyway.
Yeah, it's a good hand. It's a good hand. All right, Isan, let's put the chips in.
Isan does take his time. He's a deliberate player, thoughtful player. He is the guy who's crushing this session. As you see, he's got 5.6K in front of him. Almost all of that is from the other player stacks.
Yep, that's how you want to do it.
Yep.
He must be considering a 3-bet at this point if he's
I mean, he
thinking
would've-
for so long.
Yeah, it looks like he is reaching for the
Yeah,
big
those
chips.
are the big. This is a very strange 3-bet. When Elwood opens under the gun,
Yeah, and you got a perfect calling hit on the button.
although I think it's going to work. I don't think Elwood can call with 2 9s with
How much
everybody
did he
behind
make
him. 255.
He folds quickly. Stewart is going to clearly fold. I don't think Brewer can really set mine
this
either.
is just going to work, right?
Maybe Brewer can set mine here.
No, I don't think so.
All the dead money that's in there, that's the thing. Joseph's going to fold for sure. Stewart hasn't folded yet, interestingly enough. I don't know what is he just getting a little camera time here?
He loves the camera time.
He does. That guy is an attention seeker. He's reaching for chips, though.
Those are the big chips.
This is a
The
thing.
what? Stewart is making it, what, 700?
Wow. He is back raising.
Well, this is definitely going to work, right?
630. I don't see how it couldn't work. He's still got 1.7K behind, so he's not committed to this. I'm sure he's folding if Isan were to.
This is a
jam
very
it on
strange
in.
play by both players.
Yep.
Elwood, very tight. Elwood opens under the gun. Isan decides to raise that with a hand that we wouldn't expect him to. Stewart decides to raise that range, which Isan's range should be like aces, kings, ace,
Yeah.
king.
Now, Stewart's story doesn't really make a huge amount of sense. Like, what's the best hand he's supposed to have here? We're supposed to believe he flatted +1 with like aces or kings or
Yeah,
ace
that's
king.
what we're supposed to believe.
Seems questionable. Isan, of course, blocks kings, blocks ace king, blocks queens. That's all good.
He's actually behind Stewart, though.
Well, that shouldn't matter though, right? He's probably not going to flat. Although the truth is, what does it cost him here to? It's 380 basically, and there's 1K in the pot. He should not be flatting though.
No.
With the amount of money that's back, right? You just can't really flat here. It's kind of a jammer full. 375, yeah.
Isan is thinking the same thing that you were just saying, that Stewart's story doesn't really add up, especially when Elwood, who is tight, opens under the gun. If you have aces or kings, you want to put a 3-bet on against that range and get a big pot going against Elwood there.
Also, there's a million people who call behind. Like aces doesn't play super well 4 or 5 handed.
Right.
So it's hard to believe. Now, the thing is, Isan has to believe if he jams, he knows he's bluffing, right?
Yes.
He just has blockers, and he's hoping that Stewart would fold. But he's got to be thinking about jamming here, right? He can't be thinking about calling.
Yeah, I
can
think
he?
he's imagining a jam might work.
A call would be interesting. He is getting a great price. Is he calling?
Oh, no, he's giving the chips
thought he was
away.
throwing the calling chips in for a
Wow,
second.
so that was a strange last hand for this episode of Poker
Yeah.
Time. And Stewart shows the 6.
Nice.
Let's see if that stirs things up next Tuesday.
Sure hope so.
Okay.